Now let's start on the next part of the mole unit. This first section is called percent composition, and on our worksheet we're given an equation. It says that the percent composition is equal to the grams of the element that you're looking for divided by the grams of the total compound times 100. Now this skill will utilize a few things that we've already talked about, the main thing being molar mass. In order to determine the number of grams for the compound, we have to calculate molar mass. So if you had watched the molar mass video, or you haven't quite learned it yet, this will be a good chance to remediate that. So if we look at copper bromide in problem number 1, we see that we have copper and bromine. And actually, I'm going to scoot this over so I have a little bit more room to work with. I have copper and I have bromine. I have 1 copper and 2 bromines, and if I look on the periodic table, I will see that copper has a mass of 63.55 grams and bromine has a mass of 79.90 grams. When I put them in our calculator to calculate out my molar mass, I get 1 times 63.55 to get 63.55, and 2 times 79.90 in order to get 159.80. I add them together and I will get 223.35 grams per mole. I have just calculated the molar mass. Now that is not anything that's new to us. However, what's going to be new for percent composition is what we do with our molar mass. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the percent composition for both copper and bromine. You're going to do this for every element in there, and we're going to put our answers right over here. Okay? So when we look at our molar masses, we'll see that in this column right here, we have all of our totals. 63.55 grams is the total amount of carbon that I have, and 159.80 is the total amount of bromine I have in this compound. So percent composition refers to the amount of each element in percentage out of the total. So it's always a part divided by a whole. So part of your whole compound. So if we look, percent of copper is going to be our total amount of copper, 63.55, divided by the whole compound, which has a mass of 223.35 grams, and because there are grams on both, it'll cancel out, times 100. And when we put this in our calculator, we're going to say 63.55 divided by 223.35 multiplied by 100, and we get 28.45%. So that tells us that copper makes up a little over 28% of a mole of copper bromide. So now let's figure out how much bromine is. Now, some of you might say, well, Miss, can't I just take 100%, subtract the amount of copper I have, and that should be bromine? And the answer is yes, you can do it that way. But what I recommend is using the formula for both elements, because if you made a mistake with copper, you would not want that to compound your error. So let's calculate percent bromine. The total amount of bromine we have is 159.80. The total amount of compound in copper bromide that I have is 223.35. And I'm going to multiply it by 100. And when I do this, 159.80 divided by 223.35 multiplied by 100, I'm going to get 71.55%. And now to check my answer, if I added both of these up together, you will see that I get exactly 100%. So this is what you do to calculate percent composition of every type. You always take the mass of what you're looking for divided by the total mass that you have times 100. And you can find your totals in the last column of your calculated mass. If you have any questions about this video or the rest of the worksheet, please come see me before or after school.